if we're actually in a room this size and there's a break and everybody's chatting away and somebody 3 conversations away mentions your name, what happens? You're in deep conversation. All of a sudden, oh, hang on, I heard my name. Has that happened to people before? Yes, absolutely. Or how about you're driving down the road, you've just bought a nice green new BMW, and now you start noticing green BMWs everywhere. Why is that? How many people are actually interested in this electrical supercomputer that we have between our ears and how it works? Would it be useful? Yep, because having context around that will show you where your superpower lies and where most people leave it on the table. So I'm going to share an analogy with you to start off with so that you get the idea of how much power you already have that most people do not use. So we have this brain, and this brain's job is to process all of the incoming information or data into the body. Now, we have 5 different doorways that information can pass through. We call that the 5 physical senses. We're not going to get into the non-physical senses just yet. But for the 5 physical senses, what are they? Shout them out. Sight, touch, smell, taste. Someone's like, yeah, smell. That perfume next to me, I'm not a fan of that one. All right? Yes, sight, sound, taste, touch, and smell. Now, we have a tremendous, an enormous, a gargantuan, I'm just testing the translators here on different words, right? Amount of information that is constantly coming into us. So I can move this out so it doesn't. Okay, is that a little better? Okay, so we have a constant, huge amount of data that is coming in that the brain, it has access to. Now, we also have, as I mentioned earlier, our ability to experience. We'll call that our conscious awareness, what we are aware of. Now, there's only a very small amount of data out of that influx that makes it through to that conscious awareness. That's why right now, you're not aware until I mention it of the air conditioning sound. Ooh. Or of how your butt feels on the seat. You'll probably be more aware of that after 9 hours. Right? But you can start to place your conscious awareness like a spotlight onto certain parts of that data feed. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Are you with me still?
Yes.
Marvelous. So, the question is, where does that awareness go and what is in charge of being able to have that awareness be directed to select which information is coming at us that makes it to our conscious awareness? And I'm going to give you an analogy here, guys. How many people have ever been to one of those parties, especially when you're actually underage, like 16, 17, and you want to go out on the town and pretend that you're 19, 21? Remember those days? Yeah? Some of you? Yeah? Yeah? And you want to go into this party, and it's one of like the party that everybody wants to go to. But you get there, and there's a bouncer. Guy at the front, yeah, it's bigger than you, and there's one of those nice velvet ropes around the front, so you know it's going to be a good party. And the bouncer's standing there with a clipboard, and his job is to see if your name is on the clipboard, and if your name is on the clipboard, he unhooks the rope, and you can come into the party. Remember those? Everyone with me? So, in the neuroscience example I'm sharing with you here, your brain has a bouncer. And the bouncer's name is Raz. That's his real name, her real name. Stands for the reticular activating system. And the reticular activating system has a job to do, which is essentially to assess all of the information, the big crowd that is outside the party of your conscious awareness that is trying to get in. And it looks at the information, and it has a look on the clipboard, and if your name's down, you get escorted in to the party of your conscious awareness. If your name isn't on the clipboard, yeah, essentially it lifts up the carpet and sweeps you underneath into the subconscious, superconscious, unconscious, whatever conscious is that isn't your conscious awareness. So, I mentioned there is a huge amount of data coming in. Now, we know that this effect, this phenomena, exists. Why? Because when we actually hear our name, if we're actually in a room this size and there's a break and everybody's chatting away and somebody 3 conversations away mentions your name, what happens? You're in deep conversation. All of a sudden, oh, hang on, I heard my name. Has that happened to people before? Yes, absolutely. Or how about you're driving down the road, you've just bought a nice green new BMW, and now you start noticing green BMWs everywhere. Why is that? I'll tell you. It's because your bouncer, your reticular activating system, operates on a sense of priority in terms of what is on the clipboard. And what is on the clipboard, what gets onto the clipboard, is what you have voted on or chosen as being relevant and important to you. Now, is your name more important to you than somebody else's name? That's why all the other people's names in the conversations around you got swept under the carpet of your conscious awareness. But when your name came to the front and the brain was processing the data, it said, oh, that's relevant, unhooks the rope and walks it in. And now all of a sudden, out of all of the noise, boom, oh, I heard my name. Or green BMWs suddenly become relevant to you because you own one. And now you see them everywhere. Well, guess what? They were everywhere. It wasn't just because the car dealer had a sale on last month and everybody bought green BMWs. That's not how it worked. So now you see the car, and out of the thousands of cars on the road that your brain is scanning every single minute, you notice the one that's relevant to you because it has meaning, because it came up to the clipboard and the bouncer said, come on in. Is this making sense? Now, what gets on the clipboard? What you vote as relevant. How do you put something on the clipboard? Would it be important to know how to do that? 100%. So let me show you an example of why this is relevant and how it works in a practical sense. And then we'll see why it's so important to be one of the main rules for today. Well, let's say that any parents in the room, give me a show of hands. Okay. Any kids in the room? Outstanding. Anyone used to be kids? Okay, a few of you. So let's say mom and dad, we've got, how old are you, my dear? Yeah. How old? 11 years old. 2 days of elite mentorship at 11. You are going to be a superhero, I can promise you. So 11 years old. Give her a hand, guys. Yeah. And what's your name, my love? What's your name? Valentina. Wonderful. So let's say it's Valentina's birthday coming up. And Valentina says, what would you want for your birthday, Valentina? I know, but if you did know, what would it be? Pick something.
A new book.
A new book. What kind of book?
Adventure book.
A what book?
An adventure book.
Adventure book. Fantastic. Yeah. Okay, so Valentina wants an adventure book for her birthday. Her birthday's in 4 days. Say 3, and her parents know that she wants an adventure book, so they've been and got the perfect adventure book. In fact, it's a box set, right? And so they're all happy because Valentina's face is going to be like a big smile on her birthday. She's got the perfect present. And now it's only 2 days to her birthday. The present is wrapped up. It's hidden, so she can't find it because they know you're looking. And then Valentina goes and joins one of her friends. Hasn't seen for a while. And she comes back and says, hey, Mum, Dad, guess what? I now know what I really want for my birthday. And they're like, uh-oh. What do you mean? Says, yeah, my friend has got this incredible bike. Right? I know you probably still want an adventure book, but go with it. Right? So it's a bike, and it's an amazing bike. It's like, it's got all of this new bike stuff, whatever bikes have. And it's, I want this bike. I've got to have this bike. It's amazing. But didn't you want adventure books? Yeah, I'm past that. I want a bike. Okay, so now parents have got 2 days to get a bike. Panic button. So the next morning, Daddy's driving to work on the same route that he's driven for the last 2 years and notices a bike shop. Now, he's getting excited. I get the bike and the books. Now, that bike shop has been there for 2 years, but Daddy never noticed it. Why? Wasn't on the clipboard. Now it's on the clipboard. So out of all of the stuff that's happening, the reticular activating system says, oh, yeah, Ben's cycle shop. And that flags up and brings it into the conscious awareness. How many opportunities, business opportunities, life opportunities are passing you by, not because they're not out there, but because you haven't put it on the clipboard? You see, if you want something, you've got to declare that as relevant. Most people walk through life as a passenger in their own car. Oh, well, yeah, hopefully tomorrow it'll be a good day. Well, who wants to roll the dice on that when you can load the dice? So when it comes to setting an intention, that's how we get it on the clipboard. If your intention for the next 2 days is to have a good time, well, yeah, you're going to have a good time. But you're going to miss out on so many more opportunities for your own personal level of growth and transformation. Is this making sense? Yeah. So it's kind of time to talk to the bouncer. So I'm going to give you the next 60 seconds to actually contemplate. Now, bearing in mind, I think it was Thoreau, the great French philosopher as well, who said, the hardest thing a human being can do is to think. Some people fear it more than death itself. In 30 years of working with people, I've come to believe that statement is true. Most people are walking through life unconscious, sleeping awake, and believe that life's happening to them instead of life is happening for them. You've got this incredible powerhouse between your ears, this bouncer that wants to go to work for you, whose job is to filter all of this information, spot what's relevant, and bring it in so that it can be presented to you. And you're like, hey, you probably worked too hard. Why don't you take the rest of my life off? Is that not how most people live? So let's break that pattern. Live stream you guys as well. I want you to take the next 60 seconds. Now, this is not a question to ask somebody else. What do you think my bouncer's intention should be? No, this is a question for you. In the mirror, being okay to being open to the space of a question. And if you can't think of something, that's okay. Just think of something. Just write it down. Now, the good news is, it doesn't mean that if you get it wrong, your life's over. Take the pressure off. I'm getting you trained into the context of understanding how that when we set an intention, we're activating dormant and latent processes within our brain that are designed to help us evolutionarily, and most people don't take advantage of that. So, I'm going to ask you one more time. I'm going to give you 60 seconds or so. What is your intention for these 2 days? Off you go.